One of my many rules for a good life is this: if you're too good for Weird Al Yankovic, I'm probably too good for you. Beyond just his parody songs, of which I've loved so many that I would probably have to make a top 20 list if I wanted to make a list at all, my personal favorite thing that Weird Al did when he was still making music were his polka medleys. You take a whole bunch of songs, you polkafy them, you mash them all up together, and you got yourself a nice big pot of comedy stew. So when I got the chance to interview the biggest Weird Al fan that I know, Tony Goldmark, I knew what I needed to do: have him and I rank every single Weird Al polka medley from worst to best. I was intending for this to be a mutual list, but unbeknownst to me, before we had even started recording, Tony had already made his own entire ranked list with explanations on why each song was in each place. And since he's way more of the expert on this stuff, I just had him read his list, and I tried to add my own witty commentary whenever I possibly could. But before we get to all that, did you know that 90% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed to the Cuddlepunk channel? If you like what I do here at Cuddlepunk, please consider subscribing, and if you do subscribe, please make sure to hit the bell to be notified when I make a new video. It's completely free, and you can stop subscribing whenever you want to. I'm only a few subscribers away from hitting 100, which is absolutely mind-boggling, so thank you to everybody who has subscribed thus far. With all of that out of the way, I'm Veronica Vex from Cuddlepunk, and this is every single Weird Al polka medley ranked from worst to best by Tony Goldmark.
So at number 13, and this might be a controversial choice for the bottom pick, but, again, still a 9.5 as far as I'm concerned. Polka Your Eyes Out from Off the Deep End, 1992. Now, on a technical level, it's just as good as any of the other polkas. But what really torpedoes this one for me is that all the songs he's covering are from the pre-Nirvana early 90s, which was kind of a lost era for pop music with very little that stood the test of time. So it doesn't have the impact of some of the other polkas. Now, it's fun to hear him covering the few songs from that time period that people do remember, like Enter Sandman and I Touch Myself, but when your big finish is Ice Ice Baby, you're in trouble.
I totally agree.
Number 12, Hot Rocks Polka from UHF Original Motion Picture Soundtrack and Other Stuff, 1989. This one is the best produced polka medley of the 80s. I think the polkas the production of them got better as time went along. And there's some really clever transitions between the songs in this one, especially, going from Ruby Tuesday to Miss You to Sympathy for the Devil. And it's always a thrill hearing the Satisfaction riff on accordion, but making it all Stone songs feels a little too repetitive. And
I totally agree. When I was listening to it, when I was re-listening to it today, I'm not a Stones person, just in general.
Yeah, and the Stone style isn't really that diverse, and also the combination of even worse not even having a polka and this coming out instead of a polka medley full of new songs, that created a 6-year gap between conventional polka medleys, which shut out lots of worthy songs. And also, I could have done without actually learning what the lyrics of Brown Sugar are. Especially,
really good point, I think, actually.
Let alone hearing Al sing them. It just sounds really wrong. All right, number 11, Polka Face from Alpocalypse, 2011. This is the only polka medley to ever get an official music video, so it's notable for that reason. But the thing about this one, I kind of have the same problem with it as Polka Your Eyes Out. Even though the songs are from less than 15 years ago, this somehow seems way more dated than some of the earlier polka medleys. Like, maybe it's just me, but aside from Poker Face itself and maybe Fireflies, it feels like the world has chosen to at least try to forget about pretty much everything in this medley, which, lessens its impact, compared to the others. I mean, it feels wrong that Flo Rida's Right Round made it into a polka medley, but the original Dead or Alive, You Spin Me Round Like a Record didn't. So... still, it's always fun to hear Blame It on the Alcohol with Spike Jonze sound effects, and I do like the idea of opening and closing with the same song. That bookends it nice.
I feel like once Poker Face came out, Al was just like, well, there's a pun I absolutely cannot resist.
Yeah, exactly. You can't not. Number 10, Polkas on 45. This was the very first polka medley from Weird Al Yankovic in 3D, 1984. The concept was kind of unmolded clay at this point. It's not nearly as fast-paced as the others, which makes it lose points in my book. But on the other hand, it pretty much everything that it covers has stood the test of time. It covers literally decades of music, including classics from the Beatles, the Stones, the Who, Originally, it was going to have even more. On YouTube, you can find an early live version of Polkas on 45 that Al did on the 83 tour, which includes a bunch of songs that he wasn't able to get the rights to, including Stairway to Heaven and Prince's 1999 and She Blinded Me with Science is in there.
Hold on, are you perhaps saying that Prince denied Weird Al the rights to use his music? I am shocked.
Oh my God. I mean, oddly enough, Al also wanted to do a parody of 1999 about infomercials. Like,
right.
You can have this handy product for just 7 easy payments of just $19.99. Da, 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 da. Would have been like that. But number 9, Polka Power from Running with Scissors, 1999. Now, this does hold a special significance for me, just personally, because I watched a lot of MTV and VH1 in 1998, so I think this was the first polka medley I ever heard as a kid where I immediately recognized pretty much every song in it. And but the Achilles heel of this one is that so many of the songs of the late 90s were already so goddamn silly. Number 8, Angry White Boy Polka from Poodle Hat, 2003.
This is my personal favorite. I understand, but it's my personal favorite.
Well, this one has kind of the opposite problem of Polka Power to me, and kind of the same problem as Hot Rock's Polka, because, the title is great. Angry White Boy Polka is, that's just poetry, but unfortunately, by fixating on angry white boy, nu metal, and pop punk of the early 2000s, it makes the whole medley feel a bit repetitive, and he's kind of got to scrape the bottom of the barrel for some of this stuff. Like, would anyone care just a year later that Al did polka versions of Stained or POD? Who even remembers those bands? And the juxtaposition, the juxtaposition is a strong one, and it'll never not be amusing to hear Al puncture the pretentious whininess of Last Resort and Chop Suey and especially Down with the Sickness. That one's great.
The one thing I will say about Angry White Boy Polka is, I think we were talking about that Richard Cheese bit that always happens in the middle of there.
Oh, yeah.
I think that them doing the Strokes' Last Night, I think that's probably the best one that he's ever done.
It's a good one, definitely. Number 7, The Hamilton Polka, released as a digital single in 2018. Quite probably Al's very last polka medley ever, certainly his last to date, and personally commissioned by Lin-Manuel Miranda himself for his Hamel Drop series. So this one feels a bit like a commercial for its polka target in a way the others never quite do, but it is a really fun commercial.
Did you have a Hamilton phase? Like, did you get caught up in the whole
Hamilton
thing?
Right. It took me longer than most people, but yeah, by the time the Hamilton polka dropped, I definitely was in my Hamilton phase. It
came out senior year of high school, and I was a theater kid, and so just everybody in my group of friends was obsessed with it.
Well, there
it also
you go.
Got weirdly big on Tumblr.
The sheer dexterity that Al shows off on this one, especially on Right Hand Man, and especially the 5-part harmony on the really fast vocals of Washington on Your Side, all that stuff is just masterful. I'm still in awe of it, quite frankly.
You got something to say? You got something to say about Weird Al?
Your cat trying to assert dominance there?
Almost always.
Number 6, Polka Party, from the album Polka Party, 1986. This is the only polka to ever get a whole album named after it. I love how many classic 80s songs that have stood the test of time are represented here. My biggest complaint about it is that it's too short, which I think reflects how rushed the Polka Party album in general was. And I should say, when he performed this one live, and you can find this on YouTube as well, he added an extra song towards the end. He added Wang Chung's Everybody Have Fun Tonight, only he sang, everybody have fun tonight, everybody Weird Al tonight.
That's very good. I'm not gonna lie, it's very, very good.
And by the way, if you want my expanded thoughts on the song Polka Party in general, I was a guest on the Polka Party episode of the Weird Alphabet podcast that you mentioned, so definitely go check that out. And we're into the top 5. Number 5, Hooked on Polkas. Now, this one holds the distinction as the only polka medley ever performed on Johnny Carson's Tonight Show. You can also find that on YouTube with members of Doc Severance's Tonight Show band. And I had honestly forgotten how great this one was. It's got some absolutely hilarious juxtapositions and, cleverest takes on the material here. Especially, I love how Al pronounces the do in What's Love Got to Do With It. What's love got to do with it? It's so I don't know why it works, but it's so gloriously stupid. I love the polka version of We're Not Gonna Take It. I love the why don't you use it on Duran Duran's The Reflex. And I love the Owner of a Lonely Heart crash that he somehow manages to do polka style. And of course making 99 Luftballons a full-on Papa Oktoberfest jam. That's so inspired.
I was saying I had not listened to that one in particular in such a long time that when I was listening to it today, I was surprised once again by the 99 Luftballons part, and it soars.
It really does. Number 4, Polka-Rama from Straight Outta Linwood 2006. This was another one where I'd kind of forgotten how great it was. I really especially love the diversity of it. Like, there's no theme to it, so Al just gets to cover everything that was popular in, like, 2004, 2005. Everything from the Black Eyed Peas to Coldplay to Gorillaz to Rihanna. Some of the best and funniest recontextualizations on this one, especially the way he turns Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me into a creeper anthem without changing a word. It's, don't you wish your girlfriend was a freak like me? It's so, that is so brilliant.
Big shout out to Al for using the radio version of Let's Get It Started, by the way.
Yes, that as well, that's good. And the radio version of Gold Digger.
Yeah.
She ain't dealing with no broke. Yep, but probably my favorite is what he does to Candy Shop by 50 Cent, where he actually turns it into something that sounds like an ad for a candy shop. Like, we'll take you to the candy shop. Da, 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 da. It's so great. Number 3, Now That's What I Call Polka from Mandatory Fun 2014. The sheer genius brilliance of devoting almost the entire first full minute of this to Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus, which that is one of the most perfect polka versions of anything that I've ever heard. And just because the original is so fucking overwrought, and making it a polka just deflates it and makes it actually a good song again. It's so damn great, and that alone is enough to propel this near the top of the list. There are a few flavor of the month songs on here. Like, I don't know if anyone really needed polka Gangnam Style, but I appreciate that Al actually manages to eke some laughs out of stuff like Call Me Maybe and Sexy and I Know It. Like, just the way Al says you.
This was the one. This album came out like the year in between me going from freshman to sophomore year of high school. There are versions of songs on this track that are the only versions I can still listen to. I will never listen to Scream. I will never listen to Scream and Shout by will.i.am and Britney as long as I live ever again, if I can help it. But for some reason, it works so well in the polka medley.
It worked. That's kind of the magic of all these polka medleys. It takes songs that we otherwise couldn't stand and it recontextualizes them until we can. I mean, that's kind of the point of Weird Al in general in some ways.
Do you think there are people who are exclusively, or at least up until he stopped recording, were exclusively finding out what was popular just through Weird Al?
Oh, I was one of those people. I mean, maybe that's part of the reason Polka Face is so low on the list to me, because I wasn't following pop music at all when Alpocalypse came out, and so I was familiar with almost nothing on it. So maybe it's just my tunnel vision, but who cares? It's my ranking. So, and also, I don't know if you know this, but on TikTok, Al's polka version of Thrift Shop has kind of become its own meme. Particularly,
I have not seen that recently.
Well, particularly a while back, it wasn't an official video, but someone did a reanimated of Now That's What I Call Polka, where each animator was assigned one of the songs, and the animator who did Thrift Shop, for some reason, his animation of Al doing Thrift Shop has gone viral on TikTok, and you see, and it's It's like that's almost the official version of Thrift Shop for some people.
I got to get an X into Weird Al through TikTok when Trapped in the Drive-Thru went viral
Oh,
a
yeah.
while ago.
Yeah, Trapped in the Drive-Thru's become a TikTok meme as well, definitely.
Yeah.
Number 2, Bohemian Polka from Alapalooza 1993, the only full-on polka cover Al's ever done, that a song that only covers one song and one song alone. And you know what? It only needs one song when that song is Bohemian Rhapsody. Turning Freddie Mercury's melancholy masterpiece into an upbeat polka is so inherently otherworldly brilliant that if this had been the only polka track that Al had ever done, it would have been enough. Like, that's the guy who turned Bohemian Rhapsody into a polka and did it so well. Like, the Scaramouche part in particular just reaches delirious levels of enjoyment for me. And now, the number 1, what I think is the best Weird Al polka of all time, and again, maybe this is my tunnel vision, but who cares, it's my list. The Alternative Polka from Bad Hair Day, 1996. Maybe it's just because Bad Hair Day is the first Weird Al album that I ever got obsessed with, but there's something about its polka medley that will always hit the sweet spot for me. The mid-90s was, and what makes it work, even though I kind of shat on like Angry White Boy Polka, and this is another sort of themed polka, themed to alternative music, but the thing is, the mid-90s was such an infamously diverse period of music. It was a time when alternative meant just about anything and everything, and this polka medley reflects that. It covers everything from 9 Inch Nails to Sheryl Crow to Green Day to Black Hole Sun to Alanis Morissette's song about Uncle Joey. Now, infamously, Al originally recorded this medley with Weezer's Buddy Holly included in it. You can find kind of an unmixed version of that on YouTube, on Al's official channel, in fact. It was going to come right between the Smashing Pumpkins' Despite All My Rage, I'm Still Just a Rat in a Cage, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers' My Friends. But it was literally going to be, despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. Ooh, I look just like Buddy Holly. Oh, and Al had to cut that out at the last minute because Weezer they didn't exactly renege their permission, but just briefly getting into the legality of it, the polka medleys are kind of a favored nations deal, where if you agree to be in the polka medley and your song is one of 10 songs, you agree to only take 1/10 of the royalties from that song. Now most artists are fine with that. Some artists are more difficult than others. Like, for example, U2 has never been in a polka medley because they always demanded a full song's worth of royalties for the use of even a bit of their song. And you know, so Al couldn't do that. You know, the Stones were obviously much better sports about that. Only demanding one song's worth of royalties, but Weezer made that demand at the very last minute. Like, we don't want 1/10 of the royalties from this, we want a full song's worth of royalties, so Al was forced to cut Buddy Holly out of medley, and I do think it would have been even better with it, but even without it, I think the alternative polka is just perfect. So that's my list.
Well, wasn't that just a ton of fun? Once again, thank you so much to Tony for making this video with me and for the interview from a couple weeks ago. I can't thank you enough. If you like this video, please make sure to leave a like, comment down below what your favorite Weird Al polka medley is, and if you have your own ideas as to where each song should be in the ranking, you can leave those in the comments down below too. And as I said before, if you want to keep up to date with everything I've got going on the channel, you can hit subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified every time I make a new video. I'm Veronica Vext from Cuddlepunk, and I'll see you next time.